Terry Blackburn here. I have a property portfolio worth over £10 million. I've built and sold multiple companies, some in seven-figure deals. I wrote two successful books, one won awards all over the world. All of these awards behind me are national and international awards for some of my companies. Coach people one-on-one, and I run masterminds. Now, if you like what I talk about on this session, if you listen to my podcast, you follow us on Instagram, you follow the YouTube page, if you like what I talk about and I resonate with you and you can relate to me, jump on my website, which is terryblackburnproperty.com. All of the different services that I have is on there. I'd love to work with you and I'd love to help you get to where you want to be, whether that's in property, whether that's in business, whether it's in sales, goal setting, whatever it is that you want to achieve and want to learn. I'm your man. Enjoy the rest of the episode and speak soon.
So hi and welcome to the Rags to Riches show with myself, Terry Blackburn. So today's episode is something that I'm super passionate about, that I love everything about this topic because it's given me everything. Sales has made me the person that I am today, the confidence levels, the ability, the money that I'm worth, the assets that I've got, the team that I've got, everything that I have built came from being good at sales. It's, in my opinion, it's one of the most important life skills that anybody can learn. It's such an important skill. It's the foundation of success. People like Richard Branson, Alan Sugar, Dale Carnegie, W. Clement Stone, pretty much all them books behind us if you're looking on YouTube, Robert Kiyosaki, most of these people who we've all heard of, Grant Cardone, all them lot, hugely successful multimillionaires and billionaires, either had a job in sales or contributed some of their success to sales, or have talked about sales in interviews and podcasts and things that they've been on and said that is an important skill. I was just watching Alex Hormozy. I was watching Diary of the CEO and Daniel Priestley just the other day, and they were all talking about how important sales is, right? It's so important to every business on this planet, but people don't talk about it. People don't want to think it's important. They think it's a bit of a dirty word in the UK. It's looked down upon, but in reality, it's the foundation of success. So what I'm going to go through today is something that I've trial and errored and tested and measured over probably about 14 years now in different businesses, in different industries. And this is the 6-step process that any sales call, any sales script, any appointment, whether it's in person or on Zoom or over the telephone, needs to follow in order to get the sale. Okay? So 6 steps. Step 1 is you need some form of introduction. So obviously when you start the call, you don't want to go straight in with your questions because then people think you are too much. People think you're just after the money, you're just trying to sell to them. So what you've got to do is you've got to warm them up. You've got to introduce yourself, who you work for, what is it that you do. You've got to come across as likable, maybe find a bit of a common ground, talk about something, the weather, the football, the something to warm them up. Because people buy from people that they like, and people buy from people who are the same as them. And people subconsciously like people who are the same as them and who are similar to them. Okay, so you can do that just by having a nice introduction, showing that you're credible, showing that you're experienced, showing you work for a good company. All of that matters. Because once you're starting to be likable, I've done another podcast on this, which is like, listen, trust, buy. And that's something that the client needs to go through in their head in order to make the buyer's decision. This is different. This is the steps to the sales process. So introduce yourself, nice way, credibility, authority, enthusiasm, passion, likability, all that. Okay. Nice introduction. Then you move into your questions. You bridge and you transition into that. Depending upon your product, of course, this works for life insurance, mortgages, property deals, all that. You bridge into something to the effect of, so what I need to do first, Mr. Customer, I need to just ask you a few questions so I can determine how I can best help you. If it's life insurance, it's so I can work out exactly what you need and what's right for you and your family. If it's a property deal, I need to ask you some questions so I can determine what it is that you want, what type of investments you're looking for, what type of property investment or deal is most appropriate to you and your situation. If you're selling coaching, it's the same principle. Questions about where you are right now and where you want to get to so I can come up with the solution. Yeah, you can't sell anything without asking questions. People don't just ring you up and say, I want to buy your product and service right now. Yeah, I wish they did, right? You might have the very odd exception of someone who's that hot, boiling hot lead, but it's pretty rare, right? It's pretty rare. So you ask questions, and within those questions, what you need to do is you need to gather information. You're gathering the information to find out, right, what does this client want? What is their pain point? What is their issue? What is their problem? And by the way, pain motivates more people than pleasure. Everyone's heard that the two things that motivate people is either pain or pleasure. Pain is a stronger motivator. So what you've got to do in those calls, in those questions, you've got to uncover and find out what the problem is, what the pain is. If it's life insurance, it's if you don't have anything in place, what happens to your wife and kids? How do they stay in the same property and all that? Like, if you've not got any savings, you've not got no provisions. So if you did die, your wife and children could be in a bad financial place. Pain. If it's coaching and they want to buy 10 properties, but they've only got one, well, why is it that you haven't got to 10 already? Oh, well, I haven't got the money, I haven't got this, I haven't got that. Why? What's the reason and what else have you tried? What would it be worth if you did buy 10 properties? So what you're doing is you're pressing on the pain a little bit to identify why they haven't done what they want to do. If it's selling property deals, why haven't you found a deal yourself? For this reason, for that reason. Right, okay, so what else have you tried? And why didn't that work? And why was that? You're just asking questions and you're pressing on the pain, because when the pain is elevated in the customer's head, they're thinking, yeah, this is really bad, or I'm sick of this situation, I'm sick of this problem, I'm staying where I am, whatever. The solution becomes more valuable. Therefore, the close is easier. Okay? So questions to identify the pain points. You can talk about pleasure points as well. And you can talk about dream outcomes. Where do you want to get to? What's your ideal situation? What would it feel like when you got there? Why do you want to get there? All of that. Yeah. Questions are king. People say cash is king, right? It is in certain situations. In sales, questions are king. Okay. Then what you do is after that, you move. So you ask the questions, and what you do is you summarize and you say, okay, Mr. Customer, so based on your current situation, can I just confirm this is where you are? You've got this point, that point, you're in this pain point. You really want to get there, but you have tried this and you've tried that and it hasn't worked. Da, 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 da. Just pressing on pain again, right? But it shows I'm listening. I've summarized in a nice way to make them think, yeah, you know what, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's a nice guy. He can solve my problem. Great. Then you move into present. Then you present your product. Now, depending upon what the product is, one thing to remember here is, let's use life insurance for an example. Life insurance pays out a lump sum if you die. Okay? What else does it do? It covers you for a period of time. So it might cover you for 25 years. And if you die within that 25 years, it pays your family a lump sum. Okay? So it's got loads of other bells and whistles and T's and C's around that. But customers don't really care about all the other stuff. What they want to know is if I die, that my wife and kids or my husband and kids are going to get this lump of money. If I die within this period, that's the benefit of the product. That's the result of having this product. They're not asked about the T's and C's. They're not really bothered about the cooling off period and, how big Aviva is and how, the claim stats on Aviva and, the member benefits and all this crap. And the reason I'm saying that is people just want the result. And sometimes when people present a product, whatever that product may be, they talk themselves out of the deal by telling them about all this fluff over here that they don't even need to know about. Let's say if it's coaching, someone says to you, I really want to learn HMOs, Terry. And I'm like, fantastic. I can definitely teach you HMOs. I've got a load of HMOs. But then when I present what I do and how I coach people, I'm not talking about buy-to-lets and Airbnbs to the person that wants training on HMOs because it's not relevant. I'm going to focus on, I'll train you on HMOs because I will. I could easily train them on other stuff, but that's not what they want. What I'm trying to say here is when you present a new product, whatever the product may be, you link it to what they want. You don't try and sell them the bells and whistles and everything that you possibly do because there might only be 20% of what they want. You just focus on what they want. Okay, don't talk yourself out of a sale by telling them loads of nonsense. Yeah, you tell them how your product solves their problem specifically. And you've identified the problem, remember, in step 2 in the questions. Yeah, you present the product that links to them. Then you do a technique called pull the rug. So step 5 is you pull the rug, okay? It sounds harsh, but it's not. So when a customer says, you presented the product and this is how, it works and this is the T's and not the T's and C's. This is the benefit. This is the result of you taking out this product. Let's use life insurance as an example. They really said to me in the question element in step two, they're like, yeah, I'm really worried if I do die, the wife and kids need the mortgage paid off so they can, so they don't have to worry about money. I've then summarized the pain point. This is what you want. So this is what I can do for you. This product with Aviva, 30 quid a month, pays out 200 grand, whatever. Yeah. But then pull the rug is I've showed them what they can have and they've almost committed. I haven't closed them at this point, but they've said this is what I need. I've told them again and pressed on it and I've summarized and said this is what we can do. But pull the rug, you take it away a little bit. But what I need to do is I need to check you definitely qualify. And what happens is when you pull the rug from someone, it makes them want it more, right? FOMO is a real thing, fear of missing out. What's also real is people typically want stuff that they cannot have more than stuff that they can have. Yeah. If you don't have a six pack, you really want a six pack. When you've got a six pack, it's okay to have a six pack, right? You don't value it as much when you've got it. And if it was easy to get a six pack, nobody would want a fucking six pack because everyone would have them. Therefore, girls wouldn't really be that bothered about them, or men wouldn't like the look of them if everyone had one, right? Does that make sense? And you can apply that to anything. If everybody had Ferraris, nobody would want a Ferrari. People only want Ferraris because they're rare. They are hard to get. Yeah. When something is hard to get, you generally want it a bit more. So when you present your product, say, but you might not be able to have it for this reason or that reason, or you actually need to qualify, or actually need to speak to the team first to double check you can definitely have this. Or, well, it might be available. I do just need to check something. I need to check with this. See what I mean? And that's very obviously different depending on what you're selling in your situation, but some form of this is what you can have, but you might not be able to have it is called pull the rug. And that generates and it increases and emphasizes desire to buy the product. Okay. Then you move on to the close. So introduction, likability, credibility, all of that in there, making them like you, common ground, all of that. Then you move into questions. Find out what questions, find out their pain points, find out the dream outcomes and pleasure points, play on them, emphasize on them, press on them. You do a little summary and tell them, this just to confirm, Mr. Customer, this is your situation. This is why. Then you present the product that is linked to their pain points, linked to the solution to their problem. Then you pull the rug, you might not be able to have this for whatever reason or another. Then you move into the close. So if we can get this through, or there's huge variance. I'm trying to generalize this session, right? There's huge nuances and differences dependent upon the product that you sell, of course, and price point, but I'm generalizing the training. Then you move on to the options close. Okay. So there's loads and loads of different ways to close deals, by the way, absolutely loads. And it does depend on various factors like your target market, like your product, like the price point, like location, all of these things matter. But if you generalized it, one of the best ways to close, and I've closed deals in many different industries. I've closed deals for hundreds of thousands of pounds and I've closed deals for 20 quid. Okay. Like an overarching rule in closing is never offer one thing. So when you offer one thing, so Mr. Customer, this is what I can do. Do you want to go ahead? Then what it becomes is yes or no, doesn't it? Yes, I do. No, I don't. If they say no, you've got to try and overcome that objection. If they say yes, obviously happy days. But you will increase conversion rate and close more deals just by instead of saying, do you want to go ahead? Say, what I could do for you is this or that. Which do you prefer? Then just by offering two options, the customer thinks, well, maybe it's that one. Or could I do something in the middle, like a hybrid one that it opens negotiations? They are more open to a counter and they ultimately just picking one. Instead of do you want to go ahead? Yes, I know. Which one do you want to go for? Very, very similar question, but the results are humongous. The difference in closing will be massive. So regardless what you sell, when you coming to the end of a sales call, coming to the close, there is two options. It is this, Mr. Customer, or that. You might even be three, by the way. When it's visual and you're doing it on Zoom or Skype or Skype even a thing? Zoom or Teams or Google Meets, they can see you. 3 is good. If it's in person, 3 is good. But over the phone, fully telephone based, I think 2 is better. Because generally when you do 3, they'll go for the middle one, right? When you do 2, they'll pick on 1 or 2. When you do 1, it's yes or no, right? You will lose deals. So that's the 6-step sales process that I've proved to work over many years in many industries that I teach. There's a lot more to each of those points, right? What type of introduction? What do you need to say? How do you show your credibility? How do you build rapport? How do you have a common ground? What do you say? How do you use your body language and your tone of voice? There's a lot to each point, but I'm giving you the framework for free, and I only charge for this, right? Questions. What do the questions look like? What questions do you ask in the sales call to uncover the pain, the pleasure, and the dream outcomes? They are linked to your industry, of course, but there's key things that you need to say, and there's tone of voice techniques that you need to use, pause and techniques, pace of your voice that impacts the client more. You then summarize. You then move into presenting the product in a way that is appealing, that solves their problem. You're not over talking. You're giving them what they want because all they want is the result. Then you pull the rug a little bit, depending on your industry and your price point. Pull the rug a little bit. Well, you might not be able to have it. Actually, I need to check this or that. Then you move into an options close and you position offers in a certain way and you emphasize on certain ones and you use your tonality and your pace of your voice and how you emphasize on words, just like that, and how you use pauses to impact the customer and not push one or the other, but you can lead them towards one option over the other based upon how you position it. So that, my friends, is a taster of the 6-step sales process that works in any industry, at any product, at any price point. So if you like this episode, what I'd like you to do is share this with somebody else. Okay, share this podcast with, so just click the share button, send it on WhatsApp to somebody else who is in sales, who this might be able to help. If you've got a team of sales staff, send it to them. Ask them to listen to it and look at your own sales process. So thanks for listening, guys. Take care. Have a fantastic day. And don't just take notes, take action.